Hey, good evening, everybody. Man, this is the CSRN Video Minutes podcast. I'm Brother Washington Muhammad. I use the gender pronouns he and him. I'm one of the co-founders of CSRN, along with Jabril Bey, Mike Leonardi. Back in 2014, they thought that they could come up with a way of addressing some of the social ills in the community. Primarily at that time, it was police brutality and how law enforcement engaged our community, and particularly the black community. So they decided to have a workshop at the Doug. After that, they decided to stage a protest at the Lucas County Courthouse. That was November 2014. You'll talk about that in a second. I'm getting kind of a little bit out of place, but man, here we are 7 years later, continuing to make a difference with the community. And today I have on a black hat. I've got on my blue-gray glasses from Optigo by Twix in Between. That's Christian Moncrief. If you see the sister with the optician bus, hey, stop her, make an appointment. She has all the things that you need to get some quality, fashionable eyewear. I need to look for her for a grip on that one right there. And also today I have on my Negro Baseball League jacket. This is the Kansas City Monarchs, and I think that was it a gentleman that has a statue downtown, Brother Fleetwood, who I was introduced to the knowledge of that by Brother Julian back in, I think maybe August or September. Got on a yellow mustard, brown mustard khaki shirt along with some black khakis. And as always, I'm dedicated to respecting and defending all black bodies, no matter the cost, no matter the gains or loss. And we're here today to talk about some of the things that you may have seen last week that CSRN was involved in, some of the things that we're planning right now as we speak, and some of the things that we got coming up in the future. Hey, that's me, my introduction. I'm going to pass it on right now to Joey. Introduce yourself, your everything, and what you got on. What you got on?
What's up, everybody? Jody J. Summers, Child of the System, better known as Spoken Truth. So, as you can tell from Brother Washington's intro a little bit, we have a little bit of a different show for you today. It's just going to be, and I think I'll bring that up at the top since I open everything up. It's just going to be the two of us.
What?
So,
Hold on.
run away now.
Hold on. They didn't tell me. All right.
But in honor of Activists Women's Month and just basically mental health, everybody needs a break. There may be some weeks, like for those of you that are just now watching our podcast in the year of pandemic, there will be times where I wouldn't show up, but Washington wouldn't show up, but we would still always have somebody to keep the mission going, to keep everybody updated. Looking forward to getting back to that. Hopefully maybe midsummer, end of summer, or it depends on how rules and regulations go, to have everybody come down and we can have a better diverse conversation versus us just kind of recapping. To see you at all of our events, or all of the community events, because it's just not our events we do. We go to everybody's event that we can. So if you're having something, we go there and support it in solidarity of whatever you're trying to do in the community. I guess my description would be I am a brown-skinned, big bear tone of a man. I guess that is already. But I've covered in tattoos and crystals and clothing that represents my community. I only shop within my community, so my dollars get recycled here versus going out to who knows where, since everybody is struggling right now. I try to help those local entrepreneurs and business owners by my income. So, with that said, my gender pronouns are him, he, and we. And if you know how many businesses, organizations, boards I sit on, or political parties I help out, you would understand the we. And we'll get to that later. The he. See, that's the piece I picked. Then, before I read our mission statement, for everybody out there. If you're feeling like things are a little bit difficult or too rough or you need a break, take that break. Take the time for you, because if you're not there, then what happens? So give as much as you can, but don't give all of yourself. Let yourself recharge. Let yourself have time to stop being in the circles you're always going down the drain for later. But this is our mission statement. We are the Community Solidarity Response Network of Toledo, formed on November 25th, 2014, the day after it was announced that the killer, a Ferguson, Missouri police officer, of Michael Brown, an unarmed teenager, would not be indicted. We bring awareness to the injustices experienced by Black men, women, and children who are disproportionately murdered, attacked, provoked, harassed by law enforcement. Police brutality has to end. We bring awareness to the fact that most often police brutality goes without consequence or accountability. Police impunity has to end. We utilize the tactics of civil protest, disobedience, civil event disruption, and citizen advocacy to give voice to those who are otherwise voiceless. We facilitate progressive, community-based events to help foster self-development, and we discuss measures to hold local leadership accountable to their sworn duties, be they politician, clergy, law enforcement, educators, etc., etc. We want justice, equal justice under the law. We want justice applied equally, regardless of class, creed, or color, for all lives to matter. Black lives must matter. And injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And we are in the chat and everything like that, so if you can hear us clearly, you can see us clearly. Again, it's a two-man show. Fred Sanford, we ain't even gonna get there. But if you're having a good time, if you got questions, I'll be trying to respond. Brother Washington will be trying to respond. We're gonna make this a good podcast today.
All right, now, usually, Jody, it's hard for me to do two things at the same time. So, nope, I will not be responding because I'm just gonna mess it up. So, but if you, for those that are viewing it, say what's up in the chat. We thank you for spending this short time with us as we go over some of the things that are happening in the community. Some of you may already know about, and there's some things that are on the bubble that haven't reached the surface yet. So in the chat, say what's up. Glad to hear you. And as you know, we are in CSRN Studio B. Studio 1 was really at the Padua Center. All right, we were at the Padua Center for many three.
Most of the career, we bounced around a couple times. Things had to be done, like they wanted to tear church down, but that's still always going to be our first home base outside of the library, which we used to go to. And how all of this started wasn't some magical donation or a couple people meeting in the library and said we want to keep doing stuff. So.
And then when the library told us that we can't continue scheduling every Tuesday, the brothers and sisters at Muhammad's Mosque number 91, they said, hey, look, come on, y'all can meet here. We met there. We found another space at the Padua Center. And, hey, it's been off and running since then. Right. And what I want to do now is read our guiding principles. And these are the things that we use to hold it together. And it's not easy holding community groups together. It takes a lot of sacrifice, a lot of give and take, a lot of compromise. And all of those give and take, all of the sacrifice, all of the compromise comes from love. So I don't mind standing down. I don't mind playing the back. I don't mind being up front, because we all know what needs to be done. And these are the CSRN guiding principles. All Black lives matter. Queer Black lives, trans Black lives, formerly and presently incarcerated Black lives, poor working class Black lives, immigrant Black lives, differently abled Black lives, Black men and women lives, immigrant Black lives, Black elderly, and children lives. All Black and are the creators of this space. We throw no one under the bus. We rise together. Ashe.
Ashe.
And Ashe means one who changes a thing or one who makes a thing happen. Thriving instead of surviving. Our vision is based on the world we want, not the one we're currently in. We seek to transform, not simply react. We want our people to thrive, not just exist. Think beyond the possible. Ashe?
Ashe.
Experimentation and innovation must be built into our work. Embrace the best tools, practices, and tactics, and leave those behind that no longer serve us. Ashe?
Ashe.
Evaluation and assessment must be built into our culture. Critical reflection must be a part of all of our work. We learn from our mistakes and our victories. Ashe?
Ashe.
Principled struggle can exist in a positive environment. Be honest with one another by embracing direct, loving communication. Ashe?
Ashe.
Love, self-love is practiced in every element of all we do. Love and self-love must be a driver of our work and an indicator of our success. Without this principle and without healing, we will harm each other and undermine our movement. Ashe?
Ashe.
360-degree vision. We honor past struggles and wisdom from elders. The work we do today builds the foundations of movements of tomorrow. We consider our mark on future generations. Ashe?
Ashe.
Self-care means we build resilient spaces by budgeting time, energy, and resources for healing. Self-care is a regular, consistent, intentional, and essential practice. Ashe?
Ashe.
The most directly affected people are experts at their own and should be in leadership at the center of our movement and telling their stories directly. Ashe?
Ashe.
Training and leadership development should be fundamental. Our movement must constantly grow and leadership must constantly multiply. Ashe?
Ashe.
Hey, Jody, what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back and discuss a little bit more about health and wellness and some of the grounding techniques, some basic coping skills that we use to get us through week after week, month after week, month after month, and hopefully those out there that's listening to us, you might decide to use some of those too. So Stan, let's see if we can do this, Jody. All right, so stay tuned. All right, so stay tuned. Come right back. CSRN Video Minutes, our weekly podcast.
Hey, I'm Dr. P. Not only am I a leadership coach, I'm a change agent, and I'm a race scholar. I've used my study of race to dismantle systems and organizations, but I also use that to help you as the individual become a better leader for your families and for your community.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call Digital Edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
We are back, CSRN Video Minutes. This is our weekly podcast talking about some of the things that we did last week, some things that we're working on right now with the CS members, and some of the things that we got coming up in the very near future. What I want to talk about real quick right now, because my profession is a mental health and treatment specialist, and a lot of my discussions with people in the community centers around what can you do when you start to feel that fear, that nervousness, that anxiety. And just because we use coping skills and grounding techniques doesn't necessarily mean that you need counseling or medication. These are just some things that we have to do, some of us have to do now, living in the world that we live in. Who would have thought, Jody, just last year that everybody will be wearing a mask. All right, who would have thought that, you know, all of us would be socially distancing? Who would have thought that everybody, well, most everybody would be washing their hands coming out the bathroom? All right.
I noticed we lost that. You know, get a vaccine. Don't worry about washing your hands, immune system, stuff like that. But no, keep going on.
All right. So some of the things that I use, taking some deep breaths. When I feel that things are closing in and I'm feeling anxiety, take some deep breaths. Notice your breath. All right. Notice yourself breathing in. Notice yourself breathing out. Another thing that I do is think about 7 things that are going right in your life right now. Marinate on that. Think on that. Even though we might watch the news and see what's happening in America and other places, things may not be as bad as you think they are. Reminds me of one of those mirrors in my car where they say things are closer than they appear. Yeah. And sometimes that fear might be closer than you really need to be feeling it. So along with, make sure you get enough water, take a walk, still walk in the park. Those are just some of the things that I use. And most times you might see people posting a help hotline. We're going to post ours later on, where either you'll call me if I'm on the hotline at night, or some others that know our community, know some of the subtleties that you can call, get help, and get through the day. All right. Having said that, speaking of getting through the day, we had a chance to get with the New Order Human Rights Organization right here in Toledo. It's more than just CSRN. It's more than just NAACP, Nation of Islam, and other groups in the city. There are a lot of people speaking truth to power and getting it in. And this Saturday was the year anniversary of the death or the murder of our sister, Queen Breonna Taylor. Those with the New Order Human Rights Organization decided that they were going to have a demonstration right there at Black Lives Matter Boulevard. That's Monroe, Detroit. Just in case you didn't know, we just named that. And they were out in full force. And it was just beautiful to get with the sisters that were raising up Sister Breonna's name. The news was out there. People were driving by, blowing their horns in agreement. I didn't see anyone with a thumbs down or any negativity. We had the red, black, and green in full effect. I was really great to be out there with Sabrina. Anika was there. Ceedie was there. Melissa was there. Man, I may be missing
Patty.
Who?
I think it's her name is Patty.
Patty J. Kelly on Facebook, right? That's her name. I say on Facebook. That way you don't go looking for her. All right, she's on Facebook if you want to find her. But what did you think about it, Jody?
I thought it was good. This year has been a couple of firsts. Just what was it? Last month I did the first ever John Lewis Memorial walk across the MLK Bridge, and this was kind of different in a way, but it was in the same vine of everything that you listen to. So don't worry about that, John.
Hey.
Technical difficulties.
I'm trying to do 2 things at one time. I told you that is not me. All right, that will never happen again.
Please come to the show and laugh sometimes, because also that's what a lot of podcasts and I think other shows are missing. We debate and argue about so many things. Sometimes you just want to laugh, get some knowledge, and keep on with your day. But yeah, I thought it was really good. I'm also trying to figure out where the camera is over here, so you just see me just looking off in the
right there.
That's me. That'll be explained.
Is that right there?
Too.
All right, yeah.
Don't do that. But yeah, it was really nice. I mean, the only thing I could say that was somewhat disheartening, me and Brother Washington were the only males out there. Good. We have social distancing. We have the pandemic. We have people that don't like stuff. Shout out to everybody in St. Louis. I watched a lot of streams and try and connect to other organizations, but for them to come out, they didn't know we were coming for sure. But those women stood up there for another one of their sisters and were willing to face anything that would have happened from the cars in the street.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the main principles about activism we forget. We are not bigger than the situation we face. We're here and we try to, I guess, give some knowledge or some courage to those that may not be able to speak up yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean we're infallible. It doesn't mean I'll go say this, but into this real quick. It doesn't matter whether you're a religious reader, a religious person, and you curse, you're still a person.
Hey,
y'all could
that's
look
right.
that up.
Shout out to Kurt. Okay, see you, but you did it. All right. But
right.
still, shout out to Kurt.
I think with the cancel culture and all this stuff going on, we have to remember we're people. I grew up on all of that stuff, and I'm not out here thinking that my cartoons or certain language. Now, yes, there are some things that need to be changed. But when you get to a point where you're pointing fingers at everything that you don't like, you wind up loving nothing.
Mm.
So, shout out, segueing back to that, shout out to all the women that came out and protested and demonstrated to say her name and keep her name alive. Shout out to Nicola and Alfia, who was also one of the donors to the Black Lives Matter box. They got a little quick second on her live of us out there protesting. It doesn't matter whether you're 1 or 1,000 or 100,000. If you came up to stand for something you believe in, good on you.
All right, and you know, and talking about Breonna, and yes, we were the only 2 brothers out there. I'm sure there's other brothers that wanted to be out there, but definitely the need to step up. And for the brothers that are watching, sometimes I'm asked, okay, Brother Washington, what's the end game? You know what? I don't know. All I know is I'm showing up, because if we were given a sure victory and guaranteed victory, then where's the struggle? You know, where's the struggle if I was to tell people, hey, listen, here's what's going to happen. We're going to show up at Swain Field and we're going to win. All right, now there's hardly ever a time that we're going to do something with a high degree of difficulty or danger. And when that time happens, you won't know, all right? When that time happens, either you show up or you don't. But we're not trying to do that today. We're just trying to show up and show support for those who have fallen to police violence. Show support for those who have fallen to community violence. Either we're going to show up or we're not. So those who show up, it's all good. Those who may not, I don't know their schedule. So I'm not going to judge why somebody wasn't there or should have been there. Well, you never know. Some people who may not be able to show up, they do support us in other ways, you know. So, and speaking of our sisters showing up, it is Women's History Month. And yes, every month is Women's History Month. But there are some times that I take some time out to recognize some things. And the month of March is the day that they say, a nation can rise no higher than its woman, and you judge a civilization by the education and sophistication of its women, not the men, because the women are the first teachers, the first nurse, the first doctor, the first psychologist, the first social worker, the first everything. So big up to Women's History Month. Last week we lifted up all of the sisters that we acknowledged during the Black Lives Matter Awards, the virtual Black Lives Matter Awards. And I just realized, Jody, I think of the 15 people that we lifted up, there were 12 she-rolls. All right, I'm thinking of who were the brothers? Dr. Coleman, another brother, pastor, and Chris Pope. I need to find out the pastor's name. Don't let me forget that. All right. So that's on Jody. And one of the pastors, I think his brother is part of the local NAACP, putting a lot of work in. Definitely enough work that Jody should have remembered his name. All right, but the rest were sisters, and who did I leave out? The sisters that owns, president, founded Children's Village right out there on, I think on Hill and Reynolds. I think she may have another location too. Alexia Sims, and I hope I'm saying it right, Alexia. If not, you know where to find me. But Alexia Sims. So we lift that sister up, who is a professional at what she does, looking after our young ones, and also C.D. Dotson. All right, we lifted up the other sisters, but I forgot about C.D. Because obviously, yes, Jody.
That's why we had to see her twice in 2 weeks.
Right, right. I know.
Yeah,
So C.D., you so much for all you do for the community. And is it okay if I say something about Ruth now?
Why do you ask me? You're the elder.
Oh, okay, all right. Jody said earlier that, hey, look, it's going to be a two-man show for at least for today. Next week, we really don't know. But right now, our administrative lead said yesterday, hey, listen, Brother Washington, I'm going to take a short break. Let everybody know that I'm getting my self-care, because self-care is an essential and consistent and intentional practice that we use. All right, we have to be able to fall back sometime in order to regain our balance. I do it, Jody does it, Julian does it, Anika does it, Gerald does it. All of us that are involved in this struggle take some time to replenish. So you may not see Ruth for a few Tuesdays. You may see her on Facebook and Instagram. I don't know how the hell that works, but anyway, she gets her self-care. That's a dynamite.
Like Passover or Lent, I think those are the right thing. You give up something for a little bit.
Yeah.
Let people miss you. Again, self-care, mental health, you have to let people miss you. If you're always the one pouring out, you'll never have something to give back to yourself. So I don't know. I'm not even going to go into more because social media is interesting now with everything is taken too seriously, or nothing can really be laughed about, or you're just trying to look to get back to somebody. So I'm just going to put a pin in it.
Hey, I'm not. All right, I want all the smoke. All right. Hey, if you came here not to be offended, you came to the wrong podcast. All right, that's for sure. Hey, listen. Also, what else did I wanted to also talk about this when we were on our way here to Studio B. We were talking about Women's History. We were talking about a couple of sisters that you know that you wanted to talk about and why it's important to say their names. Who is it in your life that you know in the community?
Start with me.
Yeah, well, I already mentioned C.D. and Alexia. All right, see, I've mentioned both the names, so I'm in the clear.
I'm not going to mention their whole names. Well, I may mention the second person's name, but for those of you that don't know me more offline or on, it's me and my sister. So last week, during the 5 Minutes of Heat, and also for that, I shouted out my mom. Look at the story, read the books, all that, find out more about that. But this week I'm shouting out my sister, who may not be on social media that much and doesn't like pictures and has been at the same job for like 20 years and is almost polar opposite to me, but I love her to death. And I'll make people disappear for her. So I want to shout out to her because essentially we're the last two remnants of our mother. And she's done an excellent job. I haven't had to go chase nobody. I never have to worry if she's shacking up with people or having problems that I alone can't deal with. We always kind of, people know us, we argue love each other. That's a word. But she's the only person I can actually sit and have an intense argument with, and at the end of the day, I feel better. So other people are not so lucky. Mm-hmm. But shout out to her, and then in business and entrepreneurship and arts and crafts and everything that we are getting prepared for this spring, summer, stay out the house, not touch things, and get on people and stuff. But Danetta Carter, who does the Social Butterfly, one of the first organizations when I started my career years ago to where I am now, was one of the first vendor events that I ever went to, and she's still continuing to do that and help out to the community. She's helped out with several events that we've had as an organization and several events that I've had as a poet, author, illustrator, community organizer, all that good stuff. So shout out to Danetta Carter and, of course, my sister. I'll just say her first name, Selena. And, yeah, those two people I want to shout out.
All right, well, you know what? I'm looking at my phone, Jody, and tonight, man, where is it at on here? Come on. Well, Sabrina, Sabrina may have to help me out on this.
I see she's in the chat. How you doing, Sabrina?
All right. Why don't I see it on here? Well, Sabrina Jameson
she's in the chat right now.
Right, is the spokesperson for New Order Human Rights Organization right here in Toledo. And she's going to be tonight at Eastern Standard Time. Right, she is going to be on Do the Knowledge Radio. That's hosted by my brother Red Fidel. So Sabrina Barrett Jameson, get the whole name right. She's going to be on talking about what she does. And I always say organizing with Sabrina's like this. She makes us look like we know what we're doing. All right, she's well put together, very professional, but also bring the heat too. So check out her page. See her on a one-on-one with Red Fidel, 8 p.m. Click on the link. She's going to be on, and hopefully, what we wanted to do this week, Sabrina, or maybe next week, Jody, is bring her in to talk about the interview, to talk about Breonna Taylor Day, and talk about really what it means to be the spokesperson for New Order Human Rights Organization. That's definitely a big title and responsibility to hold, because whenever you're the spokesperson, it almost reminds me of being the cashier at McDonald's. Everybody thought that I made the fries, I made the shakes, I was in charge of the ice cream machine that never worked. But no, bro, I'm just the cashier. So Sabrina, as the spokesperson, she will be articulating all of the goals and objectives that the team thought well through, and she'll be speaking to that. So big ups to Sabrina for that. And
also leave a fist or a thumbs up in the comment if you heard us clear. I see, how the talking text as the auto generates stuff, some things you don't want to say, or I've seen now that all of the live videos and stuff have that same feature. You can say New Orleans like 3 times. But it's still the talking text.
Okay, all right.
Again, that's where we have the
all
options for everybody to kind of understand what we're doing.
And look, what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back and talk about justice for George Floyd, Juneteenth, and some shout-outs and solutions regarding the community violence that we see in the community. So hang right on with us. This is the CSRN Video Minutes, our weekly podcast. Come right back.
Nope, we're back. So, everybody, we're back in the middle of a commercial break and stuff, just preparing some other stuff. And as usual, things is always changing. You have to adapt and just be used to it. So if you're enjoying the program, leave a like or a comment. If you have something going on in your community, leave a comment in our section. We do share these videos live. They are now going on Spotify. Spotify.
Oh, hey. Oh, man.
Just another market that we can reach besides you here on Facebook. Of course, you can see us on, we played the whole entire episode on YouTube without having to worry about being distracted from people scrolling down the timeline. And, yeah, so back to the commercial break.
All right, we're back from the commercial break to the CSRN Video Minutes, a weekly podcast with me, Brother Washington, he, him, and Jody Summers, Spoken Truth, Child of the System, he, him, we, and everything else, 1,000 companies, one man. Have no idea how that happens, but it does. We wanted to talk about right now justice for George Floyd. As you know, they're putting together the jury right now. There was recently made public, I think it was a $27 million settlement that the city made with the family, and what type of impact that's going to have on the jury. And also this week, some of George Floyd's arrest from 2019 was lifted and tried, and they're looking to have that admissible in court.
So this is why I watch TV or read the news.
Right. You know, but the reality is we saw for nearly 9 minutes a man being tortured and murdered. All right. It has nothing to do with my priors, how many speeding tickets I've got, how many convictions I've got, but we saw a man being murdered for nearly 9 minutes and on video by maybe the most uncaring person that I've ever seen, which is that officer, former officer Derek Chauvin. It's enough said, and that's why we strive for police accountability and transparency. We're pushing for that in Toledo. As you see, sometimes we will focus on a particular topic, and it may end up looking like defund the police. It may look like police accountability. It may look like refund Toledo, but we have to take it upon ourselves to shift the conversation from protest to policy. We always get back to the protest, all right? But it doesn't mean that we should just do one thing. So right now we're focused on the policy. We're focused to work with those within the city of Toledo to make the hard decision, to take some of the funding that's taken from other programs in our city to make our community safer, to just obligate those funds for law enforcement. And we're talking about responding to crime. We're not talking about crime prevention, but responding to crime. If we wanted to talk about prevention, then we would talk about some of the programs we'll talk about a little bit later on. Some of the programs in the city right now that are working with our youth, that are working with our family in making our community a safe and decent place to live. The murder of George Floyd had a tremendous impact on CSRN. Those who were with us on May 30th for the uprising, you know what it takes to get the message out and to really get your voice heard. Jody, we're right in the middle of the Derek Chauvin murder trial, all right? And somebody had posted that on Facebook because people were talking about the George Floyd trial. Well, George Floyd, our brother, is not on trial.
Right.
His murderer is on trial. So language is important. Words matter too, and words can either minimize something or it can expose some things. So for you, Jody, why do you think it's important for us right now to continue focusing on justice for George Floyd and continuing to push for police accountability?
Well, you kind of said it right there, it's accountability. I mean, it's beyond the point of that was an officer and this was a citizen possibly committing a crime. It's another person murdered another person in cold blood on camera, and the only reason why we even hear about cases like this is because there was a camera. Had it not been, which there are many cases that happen that go unsolved for years or just get ripped out of books, is because there's cameras now. It's a double-edged sword in the way that we live our lives, especially now through the pandemic and all of this stuff, that those are the only way we can witness stuff. Nobody's out writing history books about this stuff. This will be as many whiteout pages as possible to just, there was a case, it happened, that's the end. Mm-hmm. And that's your history. A lot of the world has changed from when I was growing up. If I didn't like your opinion, it's okay. We don't have to get along. I live my day, I find some other stuff. Now we're kind of consumed with everything that is everything. And it's like, again, mental health, take a break, but also fight for justice. Because if it happens to a friend of yours or a family member, that's another thing. I'm going to segue this into community violence, which everybody loves the term of that, but it's neighbors. Everybody talks about how our organization or this type of movement doesn't go after the people who do the crime in their own communities, and we're only after police. No, we're after peaceful solutions and resolutions and actual accountability and punishment for those crimes. Mm-hmm. No matter whether you're a police officer, because I'm not giving you blue or a badge that you put on.
Right.
A person of any type of skin tone, just say that all across the gamut, that you're equal. You all bleed, you all breathe, you all that stuff. So I think we need, as the whole entire world saw this, it's not just something that could just be pushed under the rug, because yeah, it brought out a lot of society that had been sitting in their house for months with nothing to do. And now we're coming out. And you can see it's not just about the George Floyd case that made everybody anxious and mad. It's about the things that we've lost in the process of isolating ourselves and all this stuff. That's why domestic violence and community violence and all this stuff is on the rise. I think it was a comedian, and I can't remember the name, but somebody will probably find it on social media. And it was funny, it was in the middle of the pandemic, and they were talking about, do you want things to go back to how they were before the pandemic? It was like, yes and no. Because before the pandemic, we had a murder or a mass shooting or something every weekend. We're getting back to that stage now. And I hope that we learned from isolation, from having to spend time with our families and ourselves, how to be better. As we keep talking about, we're not trying to erase the police department. We know there needs to be some type of order in the world. But what about the other programs, like stuff I grew up, just parks and things besides a flat screen that shows no emotion? Yes, social distancing and virus and all of that stuff going on. But you can play ball with your kid in the house. You don't have to throw a screen in front of them. You don't have to be at the bar, the club, the salon, the golf course, all of that stuff all the time. One of the things that I value, even still to this day, even though it was taken from me through foster care and stuff, at least I had 14 good years with my mom as a family and stuff like that. So I don't know where I was supposed to be leading that to off of George Floyd, but here's the segue to that. It's something that I guess they can't see the tape. The last time I heard something, the last words that he called out, which probably broke a lot of the world when you hear it. So, yeah, It needs to be solved, it needs to be resolved. People need to be punished for the crimes they commit.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of community and community violence, you know, if Black lives can't matter to us, and they do because we're Black, so how can Black lives not matter to us? But for the sake of saying it, if they don't matter to us, then what does it really mean? Well, it means that when we talk about our youth, and we just the last few weeks, we saw 15-year-olds, all right, being murdered and killing. We saw our elderly being killed, being beat up. And so many times people are saying, well, what are we going to do, or we got to do something now? Well, you can't do anything now because that takes planning, that takes expertise. But what we can do is support some of the that exist right now. These are brothers and sisters that have decided that they're going to give their lives to better not only their children, but other people's children and families. And we talk about the program. It's called The Program. We talk about Chris McBrayer, and he had the men's empowerment workshop. Now I think that's about to start back again because the weather is breaking. We talk about Soul City boxing. We talk about there's
the commission, the arts commission,
right?
Which I think we're fortunate to have. No matter how you look at it, there always has to be some type of program that has the funding, as we just spoke on Rashawn and Chris McBrayer and the program. Those are independently funded. They don't have years of service to where they can keep going and keep going.
Right. And you know, Jody, I was a part of the nonprofit arena for over 20 years. And either you're hot or you're not. Either you're a favorite or you're not. And just because you get funding, that doesn't necessarily mean you're doing work. All right. It just, and it's true. All right. It's true. I'm old enough to have seen where all the bodies are buried. All right. This is true. And a lot of those programs that we're mentioning, sometimes the success of your program works against you. So you've got some people out here that are doing great work, that getting great outcomes. However, some of these great outcomes does not fit the bottom line of our former slave masters and their children.
You mean it becomes temporary?
Right. So what can we do when we talk about Chris McBrayer? What can we do when we talk about some of the people that organize with the Arts Commission? What can we do when we talk about our brother Rashawn Jones at Soul City Boxing? There's another program that I want people to participate and help by donating your dollars to these programs. We're not talking about CSRN. We're talking about donating to these programs. One is there's a chess program. You can look it up on Facebook. This brother teaches chess, also sign language. And I've seen him have full classrooms. Now, he can't sustain that alone. And just think, if he does all the work that he does with a nearly zero budget, but I'm watching him with 15 and 20 youth. With your support, he may be able to do 25 or 30 more youth. And one of those young persons may be that person that we turn rather than allowing a void and having the streets take care of them. All right, and then we complain. So check out the chess program. If I'm not mistaken, it's on Facebook. Find out how you can donate your hard-earned dollars and cents locally, all right, directly to him, not through us, to him. Right. There's another program, Jody, that's called Break Chains, Make Changes. And this program does it all. I think they've got a tutoring and mentoring component. They have a dance component. And also they're trying to add basketball, all at the same time, teach you some positive skills for young people. Look them up. You do the due diligence of looking them up. They're already doing it, but your financial support. They need your financial support. So look up the Break Chains, Make Changes. Look them up on Facebook. Find them. Find some other Black programs that are making a difference in the community and donate directly to them. Not through, go ahead.
Yeah.
Not
Frederick Douglass Center.
Right, check out the Frederick Douglass Center. All right, they can always use our support, even though their budget is extremely low. You'll always find Reggie Williams' Facebook Live a food giveaway. You'll always see them posting live, helping the community. They can't continue to do this at this level without our help. All right, CSRN definitely put this money where our mouth is. We assist a lot of groups, and a lot of this comes out of our pocket. But who cares? All right, who cares? So I'm not willing to make something new when you've already got something out there. All right, I'm not willing to make something new that's only. Am I having a rant? All right,
I'm not
willing
to cut you off there and say, awesome, that's awesome, and I know. We don't get to see too many female organizations that are out in the community because, again, we dudes, bros. And so most of those programs are geared towards your daughters. You're making sure they're not trying to find somebody that's going to go break their heart or their community. I think it's 3 Hearts with Tierra. You say it's Tierra. She's done a couple events and programs with us. Shout out to 3 Hearts. And Nicola at the art gallery that's in the Swainfield Plaza, I know she's starting up trying to do youth painting and kids' days and stuff like that. So there aren't many places. Where I grew up, we had Boy Scouts, or you know how that went.
Hey,
but we had the
stick to the script, all right?
Okay.
Right now, go ahead.
But we also had Boys and Girls Clubs and the YMCAs and YWCAs. Again, those are hard programs, daycares to find right now. But if you're looking for it, if you're swiping past who's gossiping, who's sleeping with who, and stuff like that, and focusing on it, like a spoiler, the algorithm will change for you. Right? A lot of the stuff we see in our social media is because we keep clicking like on it. So if you stop liking it, if you stop involving it into your space, the toxic, I know this is another big word, the toxic behavior, and the always amped up to do something or mad at somebody or somebody can't tell you what to do, you will keep finding that energy.
Right. And let me add in the chat, I think the organization is called Groom for Greatness for young girls. Groom for Greatness. So look these organizations up and go directly to them and donate. They're here in Toledo, so you don't have to say, hey, Brother Washington, can you give my $5? No, you take your $5, take your $50, take your $100 to Impact. Is it Impact Toledo?
Yep, Impact is one of the organizations.
Ty Cleveland. Cleveland. So take your money to Ty Cleveland. All right, put it in his hand and just say thank you. Walk away. All right, walk away.
You don't have to take a picture.
Don't take a picture. Cut it out because you're probably making a U-turn and getting your money back. All right, so cut it out. Put the money in their hand. Put the money in their hand and just walk away. Another program that I want to lift up is we're going to remind you that there are programs that exist right now, working with children right now, after school, all right? There's another program called Mystery Music. Mystery Music is a youth music program that was put together by a brother named Eric Dixon. Eric Dixon is the son of the Dixons that were the band leaders and band teachers for Scott High School. So this brother is Toledo royalty. He wanted to take his expertise in being a master's in music, and I should have sent him the link, but I'll let him know. All right, I'll let him know for next week. But this brother is a beautiful brother that wants to use his skill set to help teach our young people some skills, but also giving them some life lessons at the same time. Look for Eric's program official launch in June as we get into Juneteenth when we come back. But there are programs in our community right now that are working with you that need your dollars, not our lip service. They need your dollars. So seek them out. Take some money to them. Next week, we're going to find out who gave to who. All right?
I got one more program to add because that is coming up. Last year we couldn't do it. It's another board I'm on, but shout out to Devin Fang. I don't know why I can't talk today. Shout out to Devin Fang and Hoodstock. I know that's coming up. We're kind of putting some of the groundwork out there, the feelers. Shout out to all the board members that are still involved and active and trying to, again, this doesn't come cheap. Grants and funding runs out. So you have to figure out who you can meet in that amount of time that is still going to be around a year later, 2 years later. So shout out to Devin Fang and Hoodstock. Hopefully we'll have some updates. You can search the page for that as well.
All right, look, we're going to take a short break. We're coming back talking about Juneteenth. We're going to wrap it up with 5 minutes of heat. Maybe even talk about how they can get some swag from CSRN, how to get a yard sign, all right? Especially, I love the defund the police.
You know, the snow is melting, all that stuff.
That's right. That's
might
right.
Get some fresh yard signs and stuff.
Hey, you might as well, all right? So stay tuned. This is the CSRN Video Minute, our weekly podcast. Come right back.
Hey, I'm Dr. P. Not only am I a leadership coach, I'm a change agent, and I'm a race scholar. I've used my study of race to dismantle systems and organizations, but I also use that to help you as the individual become a better leader for your families and for your community.
All right, we're back. Hey, that's Dr. P, Dr. Patrice McClellan, and she is a race scholar. She was a part of our teaching. She assists us in helping us facilitate different conversations to different people. Strong sister, we love her. That's why we promote her. That's why we lift her up. So whenever you see our podcast, our video cast, you'll see Dr. P. You may see some other people that we really love what they do, and we want to promote our own. What I want to talk about real quick, because I look at the time, it is 6:58, Jody.
See, we thought we were going to have a quick
Oh, man, all right.
We just get to talk.
Right. So once again, thanks for everybody that's joining us. Thanks for everybody that's going to view this later on. We hope that we said something that you wanted to hear. We are trying hard to organize and speak truth to power in Northwest Ohio. Next, look, Juneteenth. Last year, Jody, Juneteenth was the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what Juneteenth was, maybe until the mid-'90s when Mother Diane Gordon was organizing the Juneteenth. And there were small venues at Southern Missionary Baptist Church right there in Indiana. And I was one of those that didn't understand it. So I just, put it off to the side. But I was young then, all right? I was only 47. I was only 40 in my 40s, so I didn't know any better, all right? So, hey, look, last year Juneteenth was exciting. This year, I already see people are organizing. There may be one or more Juneteenth events going on. Participate in them all. Yeah. There may be some going on at the same time. Leave ours and go to somebody else's, all right? Leave ours and go to another one.
It's like how you do with club hopping and stuff.
Hey,
that's coming back.
That's right. That's right. So we don't necessarily need to have one event that everybody's about because everybody may not have transportation. Yeah. So let's have one at Walbridge. All right. Right. Let's have one on the east side. Yeah. All right. Let's have one
at every park.
Let's have one at every park. We have nearly what's the population of Toledo in this area?
Around 200 some thousand, maybe.
Soaking wet,
60,
all right?
70.
Right, and for black people, maybe 75 to 80,000. Surely there's enough room for everybody to participate.
Yeah.
So listen, look for CSRN. Hopefully we'll be working with the Doug again, all right?
Yeah.
I love working with Reggie, so shout out to Reggie, kind of volunteered you into this, and we'll work that out later. So hopefully we'll be working with Frederick Douglass. Juneteenth, 2021 is going to look different this year, but it is happening in all organization. Lastly, how to get our swag. How can you do that? Let's find out how. You can find CSRN gear at csrntoledo.com.
Yep.
All right, go to csrntoledo.com, find out how to get our yard signs, and mention in the yard sign, we have our Black Lives Matter sign right there. All right. Okay. All right. These are $10. This helps facilitate the help that we do in the community. You can get them, check it out on our website, or you can just put it into our chat. Hey, look, how can we get a yard sign? And we'll send Jody out, all right, with the yard sign. Another yard sign that we have, grab this one. Nice, beautiful color. For Abby B for designing our signs, designing our logos. This is our defund TPD Toledo Police Department sign. This also goes right into our refund Toledo, abolish the police, reform the police, disband, however you want to call it. We're trying to make it happen for our community. So either in our inbox, let us know you want to sign either the defund Toledo or the Black Lives Matter. And this sign right here may not have these for sale, but this is a hotline number. If you're struggling with addiction, if you're struggling with depression and anxiety, call this number, 866-712-4401. And that's my profession as a mental health and treatment specialist. Sometimes I'm on the hotline. I may be talk someone down, that's just having a rough day. We've got an awesome team of hotline workers that answer the phone. If you're struggling, give a call. All of us need help every once in a while. There should be no stigma attached to taking care of yourself mentally, spiritually, emotionally. So make that call. Lastly, how can you donate? Oftentimes we hear people ask how you can donate to CSRN. We have our Cash App where cash tag CSRN 419 for our PayPal. PayPal means CSRN 419. It's not difficult to just find out how to support us.
Smooth transition.
Hey,
yeah.
all right.
And I'll talk about
Ruth ain't no joke, all right. So if Ruth ends up seeing it, she's like, oh man, I taught them well, all right. So look, it's time to wrap it up.
Yep.
I want to mention lastly, happening on the south side of Toledo, make sure I got my information right. Within the South Bern Angola Road area, there's 50 acres of an empty field that the Cotton Brothers, who the financial partner with the Door Street Exchange, they're going to be dumping a lot of wood chips, a lot of asphalt, a lot of things that's going to create a health hazard for the people. For the people, you're not supposed to, but they do. But they do. They do. I understand it is. And last week there was a story on the news of a community that's being affected by this. And unfortunately, when these things happen, it's in poor communities or what they call low-income communities. So this is a story that's going to be on the bubble for the Lucas County Commissioners, for the Toledo City Council. People's lives are being affected by this. So we want you to be aware of that. CSRN is in the process of sending some emails, making some calls, along with Bill, who's assisted me on this. So Bill, if you're watching this, best believe that we're looking into this matter, and we want to make a difference. So just wanted to mention that. That's something that's on the bubble. You may not hear a lot about it, but hopefully you might hear more. Hey, look, it's time for us to wrap up.
Yep. As always, we enjoyed the time that you spend with us. You could be watching anything else, any other podcast, you watch a fight video or some game or some cooking show or a cat playing the piano, but you decided to listen to us and see how we're trying to affect the community. Thank you to everybody that we may have forgot to mention, we may have not been able to mention because we can't be everywhere. But as long as you're doing the good work, as long as you feel that you are trying to better your community for good causes, keep doing it. And we applaud you. And when we can show up more than just in spirit, we will be there. Um, Again, all this information you can see again on our podcast. We might have the Spotify up, and Ruth is going to approve this and see if it was good enough for the quality. But you can catch us on YouTube. I'll be sharing as much as I can. Again, for the people who are always like, why is he on his phone? Because I like to have the live experience with you. I don't want you to catch the show after it's aired and be like, I had a question. So while we are doing our show, I'm trying to share and let you know it's available. And when we can answer questions or, again, like we found out with Sabrina, just interact right there on the spot because we want to keep progressing. Even when we do get our meetings back, we probably still will because these got generated out of us doing a weekly recap. Mm-hmm. And now we're doing a live podcast.
Hey!
So, how we end every meeting is he explains better.
All right. I've been a part of old people meetings for a long time, and I know how old people do things. We decide that we're going to adjourn. Somebody either hits the gavel, and we leave. All right. Well, CSRN is different, and because I've been a part of creative expression and arts, I always wanted to add something else to it. So we came up with 5 minutes of heat. It's our creative expression. And we have a resident poet, a resident wordsmith, a resident that writes some of the awesome, most awesome spoken word. So what did we name it? We named it 5 Minutes of Heat because I'm old school and I love the Houdini song, 5 Minutes of Funk. You might have to, y'all don't know that about this, so y'all may have
that
to.
might be in my playlist.
Hey,
I
right.
learned how to put music on stories.
Right. So check it. So we call it 5 Minutes of Heat, and Jody put something together every week. You've been consistent for
7 years.
7 years. All right, 7 years. So what do you have for us today?
So today, in lieu of everything last week, again, I did Mom in honor of Women's History Month. I think I got that right. But and I still want to keep with that theme. I don't want to do any of the revolutionary pieces. We can wait till June for that. But so today, maybe it'll make you laugh. If you know me on the other side of the screen, you might understand I did it at an open mic last week. A couple of years old. But I just want you to think about when you introduce yourself to somebody first time. And that's what this poem is. It's called Hello. And it's basically after so many times of me doing it, I sat down one day and was like, oh, wow, this has happened on several, maybe a dozen occasions. So I turned it into art. So let's begin. Peace. Hello. Me introducing myself. Me. Hello, my name is Jody. Mumbles to self a whole bunch of other names. Person looks me up and down. What do you do? Me. Smiles and takes a deep breath. I am a self-taught author, activist, award-winning poet, writer, actor, illustrator, award-winning cook, community organizer, promoter, social media icon, street performer, speaker, host, religious bridge, photographer, party planner, handyman, networking monster, nonprofit treasurer, walking billboard, life coach, artist, and human. Person. Okay, what's your genre? Me. Truth. Person. No, what are you good at? Like love, rap, blues, kid-friendly, adult, self-help, community, politics, trendy, singing? Me. Smiles, all of that. I am truth. Person. Starting to look for a way out of the conversation. Person. But what are you focused on? What do you want to perfect? What's your goal? Me. Smiles and takes a small breath. Nothing. I am life, and truth is my trade. I enjoy doing everything. Smiles, but why? Me. Smiles and shakes their hand and gives them a hug. I don't want to be perfect or even strive to be. I love my mistakes and the learning process it took me to find them. There were no role models where I grew up, only people who told me what I could not be or what I could not do. So I decided to be everything just to prove a point that life will make a way. The dirt on my hands, blisters on my feet, burn of my muscles, clean my soul. I can't take back the stains I created, but I can inspire someone to choose a safer path. Person. Wow, what? You're kind of busy. Me. Nah, just having fun. Person. Looks me up and down again. Person. Glad to have met you. Me. Same here, and smiles, staring off into space awkwardly. Person. So how do I get a hold of you? Me. I go where I am needed. Spoken truth. Here's my cards. Thank you for letting me enjoy this time with you. Person. What? Not sure what this was, but thank you. Me. Smiles. You're welcome. Now go inspire someone to be great. Person. You smile a lot. Me. Yep. It keeps the demons away. So here's the prologue to that poem. And if you're still reading this, I wish I could make this stuff up, but it has happened to me more than once on word for word on several occasions. For the new people, I'm weird, but you might already be hooked. The only cure is to see the next post or poem, and again, I am my brand. I don't care about money, sex, fame, exposure, time, distance, social structure, or status quo. Nothing stands in my way or distracts me for very long. I am everywhere because that's where I belong. Too much of me can be blinding, but I would never throw shade on someone's dream just because I don't understand their gift. My way of life is truth. Spoken truth is not just a saying or a selling point for me. It is who I am from the moment I open my eyes until I lay them to rest. In peace. I know that was kind of weird, but
No, it was pure Jody. It was pure Jody. And one of the things that we do as we close out, we recite, it's a call and response, our solidarity prayer, pledge. What I'll do, I'll say I, you say I, and you'll just repeat after me. So, you ready?
yeah.
Let's go. Say I, your name,
Jody,
pledge to strive,
to
love my brothers and my sisters,
to love my brothers and my sisters,
as I love myself.
as I love myself.
I, your name,
Jay Summers,
pledge to strive, to study, to improve myself,
spiritually,
mentally, morally, and physically, for the benefit of myself, my family, and my people. I, your name,
child of the system,
pledge to strive,
to
be a part of the solution, the process, and not the problem. I, your name,
spoken truth,
pledge to strive,
to
give all that I could spare,
give all that I can
time,
of my time,
my strength, and energy to achieve the above said. Now give yourself a black fist, and as always, all lives can't matter unless Black lives matter. And Black lives can't matter unless all Black lives matter. Justice or else, peace.
Thank you all for joining us.